Tonight on Grady Newsource, how early voting is going after 3 locations in Athens extended their early voting hours. Athens Clark County Police Department is taking measures to reduce traffic fatalities. And finally, the UGA Tennessee game this weekend creates excitement amongst football fans from both schools. All this and more tonight on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening. I'm Madison Harwell and welcome to Grady Newsource. You have just a few more days to cast your early votes before the general election. Grady Newsource reporter Abby Walton is live with the latest on the new early voting hours. Hi Abby, what's going on there?
Its record label released a statement yesterday on the incident.
Hi Madison. Yes, I'm here right now at the Athens Clark County Elections Office, right behind me here in downtown Athens, and this is one of the 3 locations that recently extended their early voting hours.
A stray bullet has taken another life from this world, and we are devastated.
Hi Madison. Yes, I'm currently here outside of the Athens Clark County election, much less compared to the state average, and the extended hours may help with this issue.
People are working until 5, and so with polls closing at 5 and you getting off work at 5, there's no way you can make it to your polling location. So that additional 2 hours gives you that.
The locations affected include the Athens Election Office, the Miriam Moore Community Center, and the Linden House Arts Center. The extended hours have some of the polls open as early as 7 a.m. and as late as 7 p.m. Early voter Joshua Fox says he is very happy about the board's decision to extend the voting hours.
Voting hours, it gives a lot of people a lot more opportunity to vote, and yeah, that's a great thing.
The board hopes that this decision will increase the voter turnout in Athens, Georgia. So this location where I'm at right now in downtown Athens, the Athens Board of Elections office, you have until 7 p.m. to cast your vote here tonight, and they've let me know that as long as you are in line, you are good to go to cast that early vote. Now you have 3 more days until Friday, that is, to cast your early vote before the elections on November 8th. Back to you, Madison.
So much for that early voting update, Abby. As UGA prepares for a top 3 matchup this weekend with Tennessee, Grady Newsource reporter Jim Rogers stopped by the Tate Center to hear about students' expectations for the game. Hey Jim, so what'd you find out?
So earlier today I had the chance to speak with some UGA students about this weekend's game. Emotions and expectations for the big game are varying on campus. A good mix of excitement and caution
I'll be in a place
in the student body.
Honestly, Tennessee, they're a good ball team, but it's dogs on top, probably by 50.
Honestly, there might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think Tennessee is going to come very close if they don't win.
An important factor for the game will be the difference makers and how they perform. Who's going to make the difference?
I mean, obviously the Dogs have had some not great games, like against Missouri, so it'll definitely make a difference if they play like that again. No offense, I still love you, Georgia Bulldogs.
Both sides.
Obviously, both 2 quarterbacks. There's a big difference in how they're both talked about. Hendon Hooker's a Heisman candidate, and Stetson Bennett is kind of like the redheaded stepchild. You would, if you just look at what people write about him and say about him, you would never know that he won a national championship.
To better help the Dogs, Coach Smart is strongly encouraging students to attend to give the edge.
But I figured since it's a home game, we should have like the home court advantage type of thing.
Nice. Yeah. No, that was right.
I think that if we're loud, the Vols will be intimidated.
And everyone in Athens is getting ready for a potential game of the year. And Athens will hear quite an uproar this Saturday as Georgia and Tennessee fans battled out in the stands. But what if you're both? Grady Newsource reporter Riley Roberts spoke with the UGA student Ashley Slickham as she comes along for the Tennessee natives. With her entire family wearing orange on the side of the field, here's what she had to say about the game and her game day plans.
My family is all from Memphis, and my parents actually met in Knoxville, so I grew up a Tennessee fan, and it definitely runs deep in my blood. So I'm wearing white to the game to be neutral. I told myself as long as I go to Georgia, I want Georgia to win. So I'm following Kirby's lead, and I'm going to be losing my voice for the Dogs this weekend. But if Tennessee does win, it could be worse.
Ashleman's family might be excited to hear this. The first college football playoffs rankings of 2022 were revealed Tuesday night, and Georgia's opponents, the Tennessee Volunteers, are the new #1 team. While the Bulldogs slide to number 3, Grady Newsource reporter Michael Doty tells us about what this Saturday will mean.
The Georgia Bulldogs, who were #1 in the AP poll, received a surprise Tuesday night when they dropped to number 3 in the first college football playoff poll. The new team to beat in college football is their opponents on Saturday, the Tennessee Volunteers. This is the highest ranked matchup between the two teams, and the first time the Volunteers are the #1 team in 24 years.
I love the fact that we're ranked behind them and that, it puts an extra target on Tennessee's back as opposed to ours, and I think it just makes the challenge that much greater. I think it's a good thing.
So far this season, Tennessee has beaten 5 opponents who were ranked at the time, while Georgia has beaten just one, number 11 Oregon. The winner of this game will highly bolster its college football playoff resume.
I'm so excited. I've been a Georgia fan my whole life. I'm a 4th-generation student from my family here and been looking forward to a home game like this for literally my whole life.
Before fans file their way into the stadium, many will be here on Myers Quad to watch College Game Day.
Then it's game on at 3:30. Before that, though, stadium workers use the week to get the venue in top shape.
We pretty much just get all the light, make sure 100% of the lights are working, and Monday we walk the whole stadium, room for room, bathroom, suite for suite, just making sure everything's on.
Perez says they can control all the lights during the game through the Lutron app. For Grady Newsource, this is Michael Doty.
And now, Mary Lou tells us what will help relieve some of the stress from the CFP's rankings.
That's right, Jim. So daylight savings time will actually happen this weekend at 2 a.m. early Sunday morning. So after hopefully celebrating a win against Tennessee, you're going to gain an extra hour of sleep. Now, daylight savings time was originally created to allow an additional hour of sunlight in the evening during the winter months. And during the colder months, when the clocks change again, it gets darker earlier, which is what's going to happen this weekend. Now, back in March, the Sunshine Protection Act was unanimously passed in the Senate, which would make the daylight savings time permanent and allow for more daylight in the evenings and no more changing of clocks. While the bill was passed in the Senate, it remains held up in the House. So for now, make sure to set your clocks back. Back to you, Madison.
Thank you for the daylight savings update, Mary Lou. I always seem to forget to turn my clock back. The Athens-Clarke County Police Department has arrested 2 suspects in connection with the armed robbery of an Athens resident that occurred on July 5th. On Monday, a 22-year-old male was arrested on his outstanding warrant for armed robbery, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm in the incident. A female, also 22, was arrested for party to the crime of armed robbery the day prior. The investigation continues, and anyone with information on the robbery can contact Detective Harrison at the number shown below. Now, we have more information on the shooting that killed Migos rapper Takeoff early Tuesday morning. Grady Newsource reporter Ben McKettrick is live with us outside of Stegman Coliseum. And Ben, it was just a few weeks ago when Takeoff's uncle and fellow Migos member Quavo performed there.
Thank you, Maddie. Yeah, Quavo performed in front of a bunch of UGA students here as part of Stegmania, which was a preseason celebration for Georgia basketball. Now Takeoff and the Migos were especially active in celebrating Georgia and Atlanta sports, so you can imagine that many were affected by the rapper's death. I got the chance to speak with Dr. Lakika Bonnet-Bailey, an Africana Studies professor at Georgia State, about the shooting's impact on hip-hop.
I'll be in a place where we are starting Hip Hop in History Month by the passing of another hip hop artist is devastating. And it is devastating to constantly have these discussions about rap artists being killed. But with that, I do think that it is not something that is just germane to rap and hip hop culture.
Takeoff was shot and killed at a bowling alley in Houston, Texas. Here's the dispatch audio from the Houston Police Department.
5 shots fired downstairs, from downstairs outside. The people next door are calling in about discharging firearms.
Houston police said that the incident occurred when an argument started between unknown individuals after a private party. The police located Takeoff dead with a gunshot wound upon arrival.
Such a tragic incident, and that it was unwarranted and unnecessary. And, you know, that we have this young artist who is known as being one of the calmer members of the group, Mingos, one that did not have as much media attention, to be killed in the manner that he was killed.
Takeoff's sudden passing was met with reactions from all over, tributing the late rapper. Now from that, you can just see how much of an influence Takeoff had on the Atlanta and Georgia community. Yesterday, his record label released a statement on the incident, and it states, "It is with a broken heart and deep sadness that we mourn the loss of our beloved brother, Kirsnick Kari Ball, known to the world as Takeoff. Senseless violence and a stray bullet was taken another life from this world, and we are devastated." Now this says that Takeoff was taken by a stray bullet. Right now, the police are still searching for more information. They do not have a suspect just yet, but anyone with more information is asked to contact Houston police. For now, our thoughts go out to Takeoff and his family and friends and anyone else who may be affected by his passing. Back to you, Maddie.
Tragic update on the Migos bin. After the break, UGA's campus is now a voting location for Athens residents.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
With early voting ending this Friday, UGA's Tate Center has become a venue for those who have not yet cast their ballot. Grady Newsource reporter Riley Roberts tells us how the university is contributing to Georgia's record numbers.
Tate is known by students as a place for studying or taking a break between classes, and right now it is doubling as an early voting venue.
Georgia is like kind of a battleground state right now, so I thought it would be kind of meaningful to volunteer here.
Fulbright is a volunteer for UGA Votes, a nonpartisan election engagement campaign who organized the polling location. Any voter registered within Athens-Clarke County is welcome on campus to cast their ballot, but the location is specifically designed to cater to students.
Being a student is kind of hard, like to go out and like go to like a voting place, especially if you're, you know, like you're trying to like finish your classes, and a lot of students aren't like, that's not like on their mind usually.
I think it's really great that UGA has it here because it makes it more accessible to students.
This was Orlette's first time voting at Tate, and she encourages others to do it as well.
It's really easy. It's really quick. It took me less than 10 minutes.
Advanced voting at Tate runs until 7 p.m. tonight and from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow. Riley Roberts, Grady Newsource.
Grady Newsource will continue to bring you the latest from the polls all the way up to election night. Harper Blankenship joins us from the newsroom to tell us about the live coverage we'll have on election night. Hi, Harper. Tell us about it.
Hey, Madison. Yeah, that's right. Next Tuesday, November 8th, is election night. We are going to have wall-to-wall live coverage starting at 8 p.m., moving all the way to 11 p.m. We're going to be live from 10 different locations, 6 counties around the surrounding Northeast Georgia area, as well as 4 campaigns. That's the very, very crucial Senate race featuring Reverend Raphael Warnock, the current senator and incumbent, facing up against local Georgia football hero Herschel Walker running in the Republican seat. Now that's for the Senate seat. On the gubernatorial side, we have Stacey Abrams and we have Brian Kemp, just to name a few of the races that we're going to be covering throughout the night. Madison.
Thank you so much, Harper. I'll be sure to tune in. Get ready for your Phillies update and what's ahead for the Bulldogs this weekend in Athens. All this and more when we come back.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
Amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Welcome back to Grady Newsource. We now toss it over to the sports desk with Jim Rogers. Jim, what's been happening?
Yeah, thank you, Madison. Awesome. So there's been a lot of new developments across the multiple sports leagues that are shaking up the sports world. As we discussed earlier in the show, the big game is going to be this weekend and it'll have sports fans across the country watching. But outside of college sports, there are several big developments in other major sports. So yesterday, the NFL's trade deadline ended with some key players finding new homes and new teams. We saw Bradley Chubb pack up his things from Denver and head down to Miami. Roquan Smith, standout at UGA, is now headed from the cold Midwest to the cold Northeast and is going to be playing for the Baltimore Ravens. And for the Falcons, suspended receiver Calvin Ridley was traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars for 2 future draft picks. And although Ridley was traded, he won't be able to join the Jags until next season once his suspension has concluded. In other NFL news, according to multiple media reports, Dan Snyder has reached out to Bank of America to assist with the selling of the Washington Commanders. If you were to win the Powerball lottery, would you buy the team? And in the NBA, with the season just getting started, we already have some major hirings and firings that have changed how the Eastern Conference is going to shape out. The Brooklyn Nets have fired former Hall of Fame player turned coach Steve Nash and have hired Ime Udoka to replace him. Udoka was suspended days before the season began as the Boston Celtics head coach after it was discovered that he was having an affair with a member of the Celtics staff. And lastly, the Philadelphia Phillies take a 2-1 series lead in the World Series. The series and playoffs have made Phillies slugger Bryce Harper a must-see player as he has currently hit 6 home runs through the playoffs and the World Series. That's been your sports rundown. Back to you, Madison.
Thanks, Jim. So I know that I always associate November with really cold weather, but clearly that's not what's happening for us in this first week in November. But hey, that's Georgia weather for you. So we have on today, it's going to be a little bit cloudy with a high of 75 and a low of 53. Tomorrow it's looking like it's going to be a nicer day. It's going to be sunny with a high of 74 and a low of 50. Friday looks like my perfect day, sunny and 75 with a low of 58. And Saturday, game day, it's going to be a little bit cloudy, but only a 20% chance of rain, so we should be good for the game there. High of 79 there and a low of 62. And then on Sunday, it's going to be about the same as Saturday, still cloudy, still a 20% chance of rain. High of 78 and a low of 59. That's all my weather updates I have for you today. Back to you, Madison.
Thanks for the weather update, Mary Lou. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of a fan of the temperatures right now, even though it is November. Coming up, we will get an inside look on how police in Athens are addressing traffic fatalities.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Grady Newsource reporter Aubrey Granzo joins me live in the studio to introduce her solutions journalism story. Aubrey, can you tell us a little bit more about your story?
Sure. So fatal accidents have increased in Athens, Clark County, and the police department has responded by increasing traffic enforcement.
So how do you think other counties can learn from Clark County's what they're doing to approach the problem?
Just by pulling more people over to solve the issue, I feel like that has a very great beneficial.
And do you know when Athens Clark County Police realized that this has been a major issue in the community?
Mainly in the year 2021, after COVID, there was a decrease in officers on hand, so that's when they saw the problem most.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aubrey. Let's check it out.
With 2021 being a record year in fatal accidents, police in Athens, Clark County have set out to address the issue. To tackle the dilemma, police in the county have mapped out a strategic plan, making more traffic stops.
The data speaks for itself. You know, as we've increased our traffic enforcement, you know, we've seen a huge reduction in fatal and serious injury crashes.
Equipped with LiDAR and radar speed detection devices, law enforcement has seen a 60% reduction in traffic fatalities this year.
The radar and LiDAR units are handheld devices, so you'll oftentimes see an officer like with the window down.
But just what do they stop for?
Whatever the officers observe, as you know, like distracted driving and speeding.
Auto insurance companies in the community offered their insight on what type of claims are made most frequently.
Really, the main thing that affects an accident is rate of speed and type of car.
While police state that not all residents are pleased with being cited, residents of the Athens community see the benefit of the initiative.
I haven't been in an accident lately, and although it's pretty common, especially with college students, I am thankful that the police are looking after people being on their phones or something, because that can be pretty dangerous.
Safety expert in nearby Fulton County says that the initiative helps prevent these fatalities.
But people are seeing a lot more blue lights in that area, so they're going to slow down. You're going to have fatal crashes everywhere, have excessive speed everywhere. Young drivers, they just keep thinking that they're invincible, that it'll never happen to me until it does happen to them.
As population increases in the community, accidents are bound to occur, but the Athens Clark County Police Department hopes to keep fatalities to a minimum. For Grady Newsource, this is Aubrey Granzo.
And later, meet Athens' new celebrities in town when we come back.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She carried 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
While it may be a small city on the plains, Athens, Georgia is home to many popular celebrities. From REM to Widespread Panic, now you can add the Osbournes to that list. Grady Newsource reporter Harper Blankenship brings you more on an Athens family that starred on one of America's favorite TV game shows.
Robin Osborne says that watching Family Feud has always been a nightly tradition in her household, but not once did she think she'd actually be standing across from host Steve Harvey. Her husband, John, though, had a surprise up his sleeve.
After Christmas, he said, I got something to tell y'all, to us. And so we said, what? And he goes, we have an interview to be on Family Feud. And we're all like, what?
Next thing she knew, the family had a virtual audition set for the next month. But when she finally hopped in the Zoom room, her son Jake, a U.S. Army major, had another surprise waiting for her.
And I was like, please tell me you're not going to do that. Please tell me. He goes, Mom, I'm going to get us on the show. He said, I said, you're either going to get us on the show or you're going to keep us from getting on the show.
The show producers loved her son's energy, and just like that, the family was packing their bags for Atlanta. While Mrs. Osborne says that the show was a great experience, the best part, though, was just being with her family again.
With no spouses, no grandchildren, nobody, just the 5 of us. It really was sweet. You know, we hadn't done that since they were little.
The last time it was just them, her youngest, now a Grady College graduate, was just a baby.
It was, at first we were like, this is really weird. And then we started talking about, like, things happening when they were growing up. Remember when we used to do this? And it was just a really special time.
While Mrs. Osborne says they'll be cramming their living room for their own watch party, you can tune in to share a laugh and root for the Osbornes when their episode airs live at 7:30 November 9th. For Grady Newsource, I'm Harper Blankenship.
From all of us here at Grady Newsource, we thank you for joining us tonight. Once again, I'm Madison Harwell. Good night.
Week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, that's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Really quick, so I can give the mic to Professor Lee, but biggest things on top of my head were making sure that everything is in by 4:30. We had a couple of late things today, a package that dropped really late, so just really making sure that y'all get things in by 4:30, and if it is going to be after 4:30, just be in communication with us on, you know, what your progress is like and whatnot. So biggest thing with that, and then there was a couple of miscommunication things on my end, my own personal end with cueings in the script, so I'll be sure to run that in the rundown, making sure that we're on the same page on like when to cue the graphics, when to cue the videos, when to cue the OTSs. There was some confusion on my end in the script, so I'll be sure to clear that away next time, but that's all I have on the top of my head. I'll leave it all up to you now.
Sydney, thank you. So I thought that we pulled off a show. We had several people who did not prepare for today's show, but still managed to pull off things, and I thank everybody for working together as a team to get the show together. We had 3 MMJs down, which was which is challenging, though we've done with less. But I really want to encourage you. I know you guys are tired. We're all tired at this time in the semester, but it's really important to come prepared, to have made your calls beforehand and come to the morning meeting with something in hand, something already having read in, having an idea of who you're going to call and how you're going to do your story. We managed to pull it off, but things are really stressful for all of us, not just for the MMJ when they are not as prepared as they should be. We're all worried about things. We had Harper's package was very, very late, and so we really need to be prepared. I thought he did a great job teasing the election coverage. I thought that worked out well. He's very good at ad-libbing, but and I thank him for doing that, but still we need, and it was, you know, late and one source package, so even though we don't have many weeks left, please, it's really stressful on everybody. And I thought that the football, Jim, I thought the football almost worked. I don't know what you guys thought about it. I thought that it would have worked had Maddie had a football and had she pretended to toss it to you, and then that would have worked. I thought it was a little bit odd. She tried her best to toss air at you, but I thought that, but it was a good thing. I always like, and we talked about it, Jim, you said, you know, do you want to do it? I said, well, let's try it. I always want to try things, but I thought, I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, no,
whether you thought it worked, maybe you thought it worked,
yeah,
but or anybody else. Since we tried something new, I don't know what you. I just thought that Maddie had to have that a ball in her hand as well.
I mean, it would have been better, but I still think.
I think the point still got across.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm overruled. I'm always there. I mean, nobody's perfect. If you guys thought it was, but look at it again and let me know what you think, because I love trying new things. Yeah.
I think anything to just try to make the viewing experience a little bit more interactive, a little eye-catching is always good.
Yeah.
As opposed to just kind of standing there like this the whole time. But yeah.
Did you feel awkward though?
Holding it?
Oh, wait a minute.
I had one.
Okay.
A little awkward holding it. No, it was
the
fine.
entire time.
No, it was fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not an athlete, but no, I felt natural.
Okay.
That would have been my fault.
That
would have been my fault. I decided to do the throwing thing like 20 seconds before because I thought it would.
She goes, what if I say I'll toss it to you? And I was like,
I love that. Yeah.
Let's do it.
But that's when I thought that
Right.
needed a ball to sort of pretend toss.
Right.
That would have completed the whole thing.
Right.
But just a thought, if we do it again, maybe we can try it with 2 balls
I'll
instead.
bring 2.
But that's, I mean, I like I love the fact that you're thinking ahead, the creativity, the sense of humor, all that really worked very well. That was the only thing since we tried it. I just thought I wanted to share with you guys the way it felt to me, that maybe if we do it again, maybe we think about the anchor also had.
We'll get everybody decked out.
But so yeah. So, but thank you for thinking about innovative things and trying new things. I thought the solutions journalism worked with the 2 of you there. One thing, Aubrey, you didn't. I think you should do more of what you started doing towards the last answer. You relaxed and you were really communicating with Maddie. Otherwise, you know, she was talking to you and asking you a question. Look at it again, and you were just staring at the camera. You looked nervous because it is nerve-wracking, I agree. But if we do it again, I thought it was not awkward, the 2 of you sitting together. You look great. There were no heads cut off. But take a look at it, and if you want to look at it together with me, and let me know what you think. But I appreciate you trying something new, because we'd never done that before the package, and try not to say awesome, you know, when you're interviewing people, when you're on air. So yeah, that's what I would have said about that. I had Aubrey. There was, I think it was in yours and in one more person's. donut, the audio was uneven, so be careful with the audio because it's distracting. And jump cuts when you're cutting down sound bites, use a dissolve or even better, a cutaway. But I understand that was a Zoom call, so you didn't have a cutaway because that person was in Atlanta, or somewhere else. But always, if you don't have a cutaway because you haven't been there to personally interview someone and take close-up shots of that person, like a gesture, a hand, on typing on the computer, that kind of thing. We've talked about that. But if you can't do that, then use a dissolve because it is distracting. And we didn't see the radar devices. It was the same with the Narcan. Yeah. Yeah, but the same thing with the Narcan, we didn't, and we talked about that. So try to visualize the things that you are telling us. So that was really important part of the solution, right? To see the actual devices he was talking about. So that's why I asked you guys to have your pitches a week earlier so that it gives you more time to make sure that you have enough B-roll. Lots of crashed cars that we saw, which worked, but again, a little more thought about the B-roll. Otherwise, you had all the sources covered, but I thought that you could do a little bit more, and like we've discussed, the uneven audio and trying not to repeat shots too much, and so those would be my last suggestions as before you fly out of the nest. We need to kind of work on these things. Wanted just to mention those. Let me see. But otherwise, I like the fact how you relaxed. Do more, however it felt after the third question, do more of that. And you acted naturally and like you knew your stuff, you were comfortable after the third. And I understand it's like a dental chair up there. So, but these are just things looking ahead to take you to the next level. I just wanted to, and again, prepare. I thought, Abby, you did a good job, but it was hairy, and you did a good job, yeah.
Wait, I was gonna say, it was just a little confusing. There was just a lot of hiccups with the live shot just because we could hear, well, I couldn't hear anything, but the girl I was with could hear Ben's voice. So, we didn't think that I was on, so it was like, oh, wait, stop, oh, wait, go. Like, it was very stop and go. There's a lot of more things I wanted to say. I was just never, it was.
Yeah, no, I was talking about, you did a great job, but it was, it was a bumpy start because it was very stressful on you, and so try to come prepared, making a few calls. We talked before when you were in quick turn again, and again you didn't have a source that you'd contact. You just had a police report from 2 days ago, and we talked about being more prepared, having contact with people even when you're doing a quick turn. So that would have been less stressful for you, but I want to say that you did a great job. Like we talked, you had a lot to say in the live lead, like we talked, put the information, tell us what's around you, and you did a great job doing that. You were very comfortable, you're very comfortable ad-libbing, you're very good at lives. That is definitely a strength that you have. You think well on your feet, and we didn't notice that people were talking to you and distracting you. That is wonderful.
I'm glad that you didn't notice that because I was didn't know what's happening. The cues were.
And you didn't show it, and that's your strength. And well done on that. Yeah, yeah. It's just that I'm trying to point out the good things, but I'm also trying the last minute things that I worry about you guys, and I want you to focus on in the real world. I want to make sure that I have mentioned them. But you did very well. I have to watch it again, but from what I was able to see, it was very, you were comfortable and we didn't know what was going on. And this will happen in the real world. A lot of this will happen. You will have mixed minus in your ear. You will have all sorts of things, and you are prepared
That's what I have
to handle
realize
that.
There was a lot more that I did want to touch on in the live shot, but I guess you guys in the audience didn't know
There was
that.
just enough, I think. It was just enough.
Okay.
Yeah, you gave us the main information that we needed. So and you also provided us, feedback from what was going on around you. You looked ahead at the end, so it worked out. Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of other people who are very comfortable, Jim and Ben also pulled it off. It was scary. You had me worried, and it's, and everybody else worried because we were struggling for content, but it worked out. Nice idea to go in there. I think yours had a little uneven audio. Was it yours? Yeah, it was a little jumpy.
It sounded so quiet, and the gain was also yeah, the 911 audio was weird because up there it was quiet, but the gain said a little bit higher than the rest of the game throughout the story, so I could probably chop that down a little bit.
Yeah, but it wasn't too bad. Jim, yours also had uneven audio, your mini package.
Yeah. What was which part of it was uneven? Was it the interviews or was it my DL?
It was uneven. Your track and the video and the sound bites were every time we went to your track, it was not even. I have to look at it back, but it was a little distracting.
Yeah, I try to balance it out in Premiere, and I thought it looked to me when I ran through it like our audio levels were staying.
Yeah, but watch that. I'm trying to kind of give you guys my last little things that we need to work on because it can be distracting, and it's not it's just to be more detail oriented. Sure. But both of you are very comfortable. I like Michael's package. Again, he just adds spirit to it. You can tell he's having a great time. That was visually difficult to visualize, and you thought of creative ways to. And that guy who was like preparing things, and that was a good get. Do you want to say anything you learned or anything?
Sure. I actually was not feeling good about this package going into the Zoom. I felt like I could have done more, but I'm glad I was able to get everything I needed and turn it into something very nice.
You were smiling, which is. Yeah. Maddie, Maddie, I thought you did a great job. There were a lot of, you looked comfortable. Initially, you looked a little nervous because you didn't know if the live shot would come, if we would get Abby, and we got her, and I saw you relax after that. And so it looked good. You looked good, and you did well with the Q&A. We were very comfortable with Aubrey. And then she got, I think you transferred that to her as well, especially after the third question. I think she was nervous because she had to ad-lib. But look at it, you learn a lot and do the best thing I can tell you when things work out on air, do more of that. Like, oh, how did that feel and why did I relax after that third question? That will help you.
I can't speak for Aubrey, but when I did the Q&A, it was always the questions I didn't know I was going to get asked. Like, that was when I was the most relaxed. Like, I feel bad for Aubrey because she didn't know I was going to, when we talked, I was just going to ask the first, like, can you tell us about your story? And she said she was going to, like, fill it up for the whole minute. And then, like, after that, I felt like I was a deer in the headlights trying to come up with other questions, but the questions that she didn't know I was going to ask was when we were both like chilled out. So yeah, she did great. Thanks, Aubrey.
If you want to say something, we can hand you the mic.
I just didn't know like how long to like drag it out to. So I think that was what I was nervous about.
I didn't hear you.
like I didn't know how long to drag it out with timing with
So
Madison.
you were nervous
So I was
about-
nervous about like how long it was supposed to be, and I think that's why I was like initially like.
Yeah, and what was the feeling when you relaxed? At least when I, as a viewer, saw that you relaxed, you looked at her, because you weren't even acknowledging her. You were just like, I could tell because I know you, I could tell you were nervous, and you just like, you were like going through your, I think you were going through your head, what am I going to say, as she's asking you a question. And it's like she's looking at you, and it was, you know, and you're like this. And and then at the third question, you looked at her, and you looked back at the camera, and you were comfortable, and you kept talking to her, you connected with her. I saw that. So do more of that, whatever it was. But this is not easy. I'm impressed that you were willing to do it. So well done that you were willing to go there. And I appreciate that very much. And that's why we're doing it here, so that now nothing can scare you. And now you know what to do, that third question and answer. You know what to do, you know how that feels, and you'll do more of that. Yeah, and I thought, Mary Lou, the weather, thank you for that great idea for the, I really love the idea. I love your, as usual, I love your graphics. Your presentation was right on the mark, and you added a lot with your weather to the show. It was very well done, very comfortable. And speaking of another person who's very comfortable on air. So guys, yeah, lots of good stuff. Riley is not here, but I'm really impressed how she did double duty again. She wasn't feeling well, and she still gave us so much content. I think anybody has a question for me? Did I acknowledge everybody? Did I acknowledge everybody? Yes, I think I did. There weren't many people to acknowledge because of so many sick outs. I want to thank Wynn, who completed an assignment we started on Monday, and I have sent all your guys' Sojo stories to the Solutions Journalism Network as little clips. And we will, on the 14th, when we have our first Sojo show, we will have Francine Huff, who is in charge of student content, Solutions Journalism, join us to critique that show. But I have sent her, she wanted to see your stories beforehand, so she had more time to reflect on them. And hopefully she likes some of them, and actually they're posted there, which gives you extra cred, you know, if you were published there side by side with, you know, big names in the media who've done solutions journalism. So I'm excited that we were able to do this. Thank you to the leadership team. I want to give you a chance to, Aria, this was her debut as a producer. She said this is definitely not her calling, but I think she struggled rustling up content. Nicole, you guys were a great team, and you sort of helped each other out, and Nicole did a great job also trying to find primary sources to add content, and Sarah helped out as well. So you did a great job working together as a team, and I would love in our remaining moments to hear something from you.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy being the decision maker.
You're such a diplomat, yes.
What?
You're such a diplomat.
Oh.
I did not overly enjoy.
I don't really like making decisions in daily life, nor in the newsroom. So it wasn't the best day. I feel like everyone was coming to me asking me questions, and I was like, I don't know. But I think I'm proud of like the show that we did, and only having like 3 packages at or 1 definite package at the start of this day. And then ending up with 3. So thanks guys so much for
thank you guys.
Rustling up and
everybody added, you know, Jim added extra content. Everybody
everyone did something extra today, which I really appreciate. Yeah. That's
and
all.
I'd like to hear from. Did you guys learn anything? Do you want to share some wisdom? You and wisdom?
Yeah, I know.
I guess for the sake of Abby and anyone else doing a live shot, don't speak into your mic while the other person's doing a live shot, so you don't screw them up like I did on accident. So that's my wisdom. Just, I guess, practice in your own head. Because I didn't realize that my mic was on and that they
Well,
could
you
hear.
didn't do it on purpose. You were.
That won't always be the case. Yes.
Yeah, but you gave her an opportunity to practice for real life. So now
Okay.
she knows that nothing can scare her, no matter what.
Me?
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah,
If you want to.
Yeah, nothing scared me. It was just, I guess, just more confusing. I was like, am I on? Am I not? I wasn't
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
sure. And it's hard because through WeTransfer, I can't hear the show. All I have is my volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
But I got, like, she was just a little bit confused because she heard Ben talking. But, I mean, I think, honestly, it turned out fine. And I don't think, like, after I watched it back, I was like, oh, it doesn't even look like I was freaking out or anything.
Yep.
So it turned out good, and like I said earlier, what the viewers don't know, they don't know. So.
And what did you learn about the live shot and anything you want to share that you learned today about how to structure it and what, you know?
Oh yeah, I learned a lot about live shot today after talking to Professor V about what I originally had. So correct me if I'm wrong, but what you want to talk about in your live is something that is currently changing, such as the environment around you, what's going on, are people flowing through, is no one here? And then in your actual donut part, the mini package, you want something that doesn't change, something that stays
Like
the same.
background and stuff. So we moved your background into that.
Exactly, like background information. Like for me, that was how multiple different locations in Athens extended their early voting hours. That is something set in stone. Now my live was more me talking about the scene and what's happening and how it's affecting the community. And then my tag out of the live was more futuristic, looking to the future, just so you guys know you have 3 more days to do this. So, is that right?
Yeah, and don't repeat what you've written in your lead, the anchor lead.
Yeah, I repeated myself a lot.
You did not, but you know, that was something we.
Well, no, I
we
did in my
discussed.
script. But that's what I learned today.
Yeah, but you did a great job, and I'm glad that it all somehow worked out. I was really worried.
Yeah, you were very worried about me, but it turned out really good,
yeah.
I think.
But guys, get some rest. Today is what, Wednesday? Yes, and we've got.
Don't ask, we already know we're doing.
How would the Sojo shows work? Yeah, well, I am counting on you guys. We have done that before, but I would like for you to innovate. You can watch the Sojo shows from last semester, but I would like for you to make these your own. And the idea is to, you know, each producer will take a certain amount of stories that sort of belong together or something like that. The 2 producers, Monday and Wednesday, can divide the packages amongst themselves. And then we'll have to think of leads and ways of dressing up the show, not just the leads leading from one package to another, but also information to introduce the topics, to give some more background. That's for you guys to decide. I had my other students decide, and they had 2 anchors for each show because we didn't have sports and we didn't have weather. It was just those packages. So there were 2 anchors. You could have Q&A again. Think of, you know, other ways to dress up the show. I'm leaving it up to you. This is like your final thing, and I feel like you're ready to innovate and to come up as, you know, defend your own packages and try to present them in the best possible way and come up and say, you know, I want to write a VO. There's something I left out of my package that is really interesting, or I want to do Q&A and I want to explain the backstory of how I did it, or maybe you have that for every MMJ, says, you know, talk about some, you know, how you did it, what were the challenges. A lot of you had challenges with beneficiaries. And so It could be about the backstory and the process. It could be extra background about the story. It could be putting it in perspective. I know you guys are tired, but that's how it's going to work. Make it work. Sell your story. Bring something unique to it. And so, yeah. Love you guys. thank you for all the work you did and this week. I know you're tired, but come prepared, please.